I'm very interested in getting the city of Palo Alto government back on track. Unfortunately, my campaign last time was about setting a financial discipline as the #1 priority for the city council. And I didn't think that at that time we would move to such a dire consequences in this short period of time. We have the unusual experience of always being able to go to more and greater revenue sources, and at some point in time that can become a downward spiral, like this business license tax. It's a downward spiral. We need to stop, live within our means, and maybe tell the city of Palo Alto, the government, pardon the crass terms, but get your greedy hands out of our pockets and learn to live within your means. And I want to say that in the kindest way possible. I'm against the business license tax. I'm wanting to find a financial stability and balance that will serve us into the future. I'm very interested in the high-speed rail. In concept, I voted for it, but no way did I think that they would ever have the mindset to even propose running what I consider to be a super freeway right down through our neighborhoods. It's unconscionable. It would divide our neighborhoods. As long as it was safe and it was quiet. And that would be the two criteria. I understand that there is a proposal out there that's being advanced by an environmental group that would send the high-speed rail out across the bay. Now, there is a regional reason in that the traffic congestion in the regional commuters that come from the East Bay is 10-to-1 compared to the regional commuters that come from the Gilroy area. So why wouldn't we look at that and address two needs at once? This is not a rail right-of-way. This is a brand new transportation mode that has the potential to destroy our neighborhoods. And I'm a fighter when it comes to something that close to home. You know, there is a natural corridor that is within this rail right-of-way that's going to be destroyed, and I don't hear that mentioned at all. You know, there's all kinds of wildlife that comes through there. Yeah. Well, we have perpetually borrowed from our future by spending all our dollars, or the predominant of our dollars, on operations and not setting aside adequate reserves for our infrastructure. The city did a study, and there's close to, I don't want to quote an erroneous figure, but something like $400 million in infrastructure backlog that we need to fund, and that's a direct result of our prior neglect. So I'm speaking in general, the streets, the underground utilities, because at some point in time, we're going to have collapses, and I am grateful that we're doing some things, and we have incrementally upped that, but we can't just wait for things to rot and then have an emergency. So you need someone in place in the council that says, wait a minute, we're not going to borrow from the future. We're going to make some tough choices on what we're spending right now. There has to be more community outreach. The oak trees were illustrative of that. I know that there are people that would just love to have heads roll over that. I want to distinguish between blame and a government that takes accountability. And so sometimes chopping heads isn't necessarily the best way for accountability. There was some community outreach, I thought, shortfall in the selection of the new police chief, although I'm very pleased with the outcome. There were many people that felt they were left out of the process. When it came to even the oak tree replacement, the city had said, we don't have time to get a meeting together prior to our decision date, but then there was a couple citizens who got a hold of a tree expert, held a meeting, which city officials attended, and accomplished that. So we're having people rise from the community that are showing that those things can be done. And I want to reach out and encourage more of that. We have to, as a council, first be loyal to the residents of the city of Palo Alto. I may be a one-term council member because I'm doing this in the mode of community service, not as a path to someplace else. You know, it's something that has to be adjusted. Everybody has to do their part because at some point in time, we simply can't keep spending the way we have unless we're going to drastically cut services. And that may be an avenue that we have to take it back to the beginning, and that is, I could see a scenario where there would be a two-tiered, in that that would help those who have had long-term commitments to the city in place have a more of a level of protection because of the grandfather clause, essentially. Mm-hmm. And that's just coming from a point of fairness. In the end, we need to do whatever is necessary to make the future financial scenario of the city balanced. Okay. We are lucky to have Stanford and especially the Lucille Packard Children's Hospital be in this town. And this is the exact kind of business that we want to do everything to support. So given that they have offered a very fair remediation for some of the traffic and population issues that they would cause, I would say let's get our greedy hands out of their pockets. Let's live within our own means, and let's appoint a champion to make this happen as fast as possible, because many municipalities and residents pay a tax to even have a facility and a service like that in their backyard. And here we have that being given to us. It's a gift. Well, we have our comprehensive plan, and I think we need to honor the comprehensive plan. I know there has been what we call Swiss cheese zoning, which allows for what is it? Community, special community.
PC, planned community.
Planned community. And I see that as having been abused. And people are waking up with huge developments in their neighborhood where they look at the height restrictions and they live in a neighborhood all their life knowing that nothing's going to go over a certain level, and then one morning they wake up and there's buildings that are much higher and much more dense than they could have ever imagined. And they say, how did that happen? But as a practical matter and a champion of citizen participation, the press is one of the key elements in getting information out. And if this council were to go forward and to not give the citizens true opportunity to respond, and that doesn't sound like sincere outreach to me. There have been many cases where I've seen where technically there was outreach, technically there was information provided, but it hasn't been just clearly available. And we have to get past the technicalities and do sincere outreach, and that doesn't pass the smell test to me.